Narendra Taneja, you are the president of the World Energy Policy Summit, and you represent, perhaps represent is the wrong word, but you are from India, which is the second most populous country in the world, which is developing very fast, and which therefore is going to need more and more energy. How do you see the future energy spectrum of the world in general, but Asia in particular? I'm thinking in terms of problems of climate change and so on.
You see, the biggest challenge today we have energy. If we can't mobilize sufficient energy for our growth, India as an economic superpower, as everybody is talking about these days, has no future. So our first focus, the primary focus is right now, is to mobilize sufficient energy. We are going all over the world in order to buy oil and gas assets, coal assets, and even uranium assets wherever possible. Today, we are spending 50% of our annual hard currency earnings on importing fuels, oil, gas, and increasingly coal, which is not sustainable. So we have to find a solution which is on the one hand, can provide energy for growth, for sustaining growth. At the same time, since we are a very densely populated country, we also have to have energy policy and our energy business in such a way that it is compatible with the nature, if I may put it this way. So I don't want to use the word green as such because it's very cliche. But at the same time, if you look at it, we need growth, and at the same time, we need very, very healthy environment, especially in our cities and urban areas. But given the situation, I think India and China, they need to sit across the table and try to work out a joint strategy for oil, for gas, and for coal. And also, while they're talking of mobilizing oil, coal, and gas for the growth, also look at climate change and global warming. Because I think, these two giants, India and China, it's not a good strategy on the part of the world to try to teach them something or try to force them, on a certain path which may, according to Western countries especially, lead to a better climate or a healthy environment. I think they need to be involved. The approach has to be more inclusive, and India and China must be included. And above all, I said the best thing would be if India and China can sit together and work out a strategy so that they can work out a kind of a strategy which will provide sufficient energy for both these countries, and at the same time would take care of international concerns such as.
But forgive me for interrupting, but I mean the easiest thing for India and China to do would be to invest more in coal. But coal, of which you have plenty and China has plenty, is an extraordinarily dirty source of fuel. Now, how do you persuade economic policymakers to do something different rather than to think in the short term?
Very interesting question. You see, China is building 2 coal-fired power plants every week. Yeah. And India is moving more or less in the same direction. So I think the best thing would be if international public opinion can come together and we can work out some kind of solution. Solution to me, it looks like is one, that is to provide sufficient natural gas. Because India and China, if there is sufficient natural gas available for firing these power plants, I think that would partly take care of the problems. And for that, it is important there is some kind of international move, because India and China separately trying wherever they can to buy into gas assets across the world. But what is that leading into? That's basically leading to more competition, and the prices are going up. Yeah. So what we need is some kind of World Energy Security Council under the United Nations or under the international community, so that countries such as India, China can come together, and the international community as a whole can come together and find a solution which is, on the one hand, guarantees growth and at the same time also takes care of environment.
Well, one could look at fracking in the United States, where in fact the price of gas is so low that producers want it to be raised so that they could export it. Is that going to happen, do you think? Can you see the United States as a market for you to buy gas from?
Well, the Indian companies are already investing heavily in the United States and also Canada. Whereas you know that United States, thanks to shale gas, has been able to become at least part energy self-dependent. You see, so India would very much like to basically go the same way, and I'm sure that China would like to do the same way. But the question is that, you know, do you have technology for that? And do you have that kind of regulatory independence in countries like India and China? I think that what happened in the United States is remarkable. But let's not forget one thing. This new energy revolution in China has been new energy revolution in the US has been basically driven by small to medium-sized companies. Yes. And these companies are basically technology very savvy. While look at India and China, the energy scene is largely controlled, run and driven by large company, in most cases the state-owned companies. So I think what we need is a complete revolution in terms of how we look at, you know, mobilizing technology for oil and gas and for alternative sources of energy. My personal view is, both for India and China, it is important that they people actually basically adopt one mantra, and the mantra is technology, nothing else. If India and China, they basically invest more in technology and let these oil and gas companies and power companies think more like a Microsoft or Apple, basically go for a complete transformation in terms of their DNA, only then they would be able to provide the solution. Right now in India and China, oil and gas or energy company, they think more the Soviet way, which is not sustainable. They have to think, they may be in a business like oil, gas and coal, but they have to think like Apple and Microsoft. That is the only hope, and that is the only solution.
That's a very nice mantra to end on. Narendra Taneja, thank you very much indeed.
Very much.